Hey guys, it's Tuesday, and it's time for Shooting the Shiznit, a brand new episode. We're the best little wrestling podcast in the business. This is episode 29, coming live from STS Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. That's right, St. Louis, Missouri. I just want to thank Bob McGee, thank my friend Sean there at Wrestling to Max website. He's kind of syndicating that over there at W2, and that's a number two. MNET.com. That is a number two, MNET.com. Go over there if you want to listen to it over there. Also, lots of news and everything on that side also. Thank you for everyone that talked to me and gave me feedback for episode 28. They're the Cool Kids Countdown. I always appreciate Jamie Ward's feedback. And Randy Smith, this is for you. I know you listen to every episode. But down in the South, we call those sodies. So, you drink a sody. If everyone, what you can do is actually follow Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA group there on Facebook. If you'll do the search, we'll let you in. If you're cool, we'll let you stay. If not, we'll kick your ass out, okay? You guys can always go to paypal.com, and that's Brian_Tramel at yahoo.com. We have t-shirts available. We have Amazon Music Unlimited on www.stspod.club. Here's a really cool thing going on. Wrestle Circus, which everyone, it's one of those PWG shows which have all the big indie stars on them. They have a new service. So if you actually subscribe to Amazon Prime, you can get 17 shows is up on their Twitch site now for free. So why not go to my website, subscribe to Amazon Prime, and then you can watch all of the Wrestle Circus shows. Also, we're always on iTunes and we're on Stitcher. Thanks to Suplex City Limits, Creative Control, and Local to Legends Wrestling Radio. And a special thanks to our guest today. I'm excited about this. I said a few things about it at the end of the last episode. My buddy here, Golden Boy Greg Anthony, is going to join me just in a moment. And real special episode. I think everyone's going to enjoy it. Please, everyone, we're very, very close to breaking that big record we had last week. If you're listening to this and you haven't listened to some of the old episodes, go back, listen to the old episodes, do it for me, and let's try to break that record. Now, Thursday, we will be coming out with a new episode of Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever? Remember that. We got those 4 days. We got, 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we're still trying to beat the record. So if you know an episode you haven't listened to, go back and listen to it, all right? Now let's bring on our guest.
Hey, we're going to bring our guest out from the green room, that imaginary green room we have that has all those great chocolate chip cookies. This week I have Greg Anthony, the Golden Boy Greg Anthony, TGB. Welcome, Greg.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well, this show is me sitting down talking with either someone I don't know and learn a lot of things about, or I sat down with someone I've known for many, many years. And you are a lot better at this than me because I'm horrible with dates. But can you tell me when, let's say, when you won the CCW? For y'all that don't know, I own my own promotion, and I had CCW Tag Team Champs and a CCW Champion. Shout out to Christian Jacobs. And then, so you and a partner who will remain anonymous was my first CCW Tag Team Champs. Can you tell me when that was?
I don't know specifically, obviously. I think it was like the summer of '01. That's what it seems like.
Okay, you got probably a lot closer than I would, and so we've been knowing each other 16 or 17 years. Haven't talked in a while, which is we won't talk about that, but I want to sit down and talk to you about what's happened to you in the last few months. I want you to first and foremost put over your Twitter, your wrestling site, whatever you want to put your shit over first, and then we'll get to the conversation.
Sure. On Twitter, you can follow me at NWA Golden Boy. On Facebook, it's just the Golden Boy Greg Anthony. And also try to follow NWA Mid-South on Facebook as well.
All right. So let's now we just came out, what was it? It was just, this is Tuesday, so we're talking how many days since you came out of surgery?
A week. 1 week.
Oh, okay. So tell me, take me back to when we decided something was wrong and we're going to have surgery, and then explain to everyone what happened and what kind of surgery you had.
Okay. Well, actually, about 4 or 5 months ago, I started having, chest pains during my matches, and passed like years ago, and it was caused by high blood pressure, and I got on high blood pressure medicine at the time, and that seemed to take care of everything. That seemed to be the problem. So I started having these chest pains, and I was thinking maybe I gained weight, maybe it was something I was eating before I rested. So I just kind of watched that for a couple of weeks and see how that went. And I was still having chest pains. Went back to the doctor with the blood pressure thing. He got me on blood pressure medicine, and it was still, I was still having these chest pains. Eventually started asking more questions. Eventually got, I had 2 stress tests, one of which showed that I was fine, and then one of which they did not. Most of this time, though, I was actually asking for a CT scan of my heart. And basically what a CT scan is the best technology you can have to look at your heart. It's a 3D and 4D picture of your heart and the vessels and if there's any blockages or anything like that. And that's kind of what I've been asking for about a month. And obviously insurance, how that can be sometimes. So I was having to deal with that, and they want to send you through everything else first and that kind of thing. And in this meantime, they put me through these 2 stress tests. Well, we kind of found a loophole to where I could get the CT scan because there was a doctor in Jackson, Tennessee, who actually had this machine in his office. It wasn't like it was going to be outpatiented to the hospital or anything like that. He actually had it in his office. So we were able to get the CT scan, and that's when they found out that I had 3 blockages. I had 2 blockages that were 70%, and then my widowmaker, which is where all the blood flows in, was actually blocked 90%. I was scheduled to wrestle Tim Storm for the World Heavyweight title that weekend, and I kind of told, because I wasn't sure what it was yet, obviously, and me, how much wrestling means to me, and I've missed 1 show in 17 years.
That's why I was fixing to say I don't know. I don't ever know a show that you miss. So that's one of those things where you were in my wedding and left as quick as you could so you could make the show. And I've seen you do other things like that too. Leave weddings, leave other things, and see you later. I'm glad I made my appearance. I'll see you down the road, kind of thing. But I could not remember anyone ever telling me that you no-showed for anything. So there we go. So you're going into this match with Tim Storm, and you still don't know what's going on. And when you say when you say you're having chest pains, which especially me, I've been through either I'm really in shape or I'm really fat. I mean, everyone knows me. I'm really fat now. Okay, I get heartburn. I get chest pains too. But when you say chest pains, are we talking about this is, taking your breath kind of thing? You know that it's not heartburn. You know that you feeling that there's something wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had over 2,000 matches, and when I started having chest pains after matches, it started noticing that it was not just matches. Obviously, it was anytime that I overexerted myself, anytime that I did anything of a strenuous nature, I was having chest pains. Depending on how much I overexerted myself, the chest pains got worse. So I would have chest pains on my left side, and it would radiate to the right side, and then eventually it would actually radiate up into my jaw. And I'd never had pain like that before. You understand? I mean, obviously I've been blown up in the ring. I've had heartburn like you talked about before, but I knew something was different and wrong with that. I just didn't know what.
So we're here and we're going to wrestle Tim Storm. And did we go ahead and wrestle Tim Storm?
No, what happened was actually the Friday before I was actually scheduled to wrestle Miyamoto from Japan because he was in. And I was going to wrestle that Friday night. I was going to wrestle Miyamoto from Japan. And on my way to Ripley, Tennessee, because I had told the doctors before that, that I'm not, I'm not an intramural softball player. I'm a professional wrestler. So if you don't call me and tell me something's wrong, then I'm going to wrestle this weekend. You understand?
Right,
I'll just I'll find a way to wrestle around whatever's going on and whatever kind of pain I have. But on my way to Ripley, Tennessee, the doctor actually, I guess the nurses had told him what I said, and they basically stayed over and got the results back as quick as they could, and he called me on my way to Ripley and told me about everything, told me about the 3 blockages. And when he said the word Widowmaker, that was probably that was the click. You understand? That was the oh shit. So
we had a friend of ours have a heart attack in the Cool Kids wrestling group, Randy Smith, who I've known for longer than I've known you, so that's crazy, almost 30-something years me and him has been friends, and it was a Widowmaker heart attack, and he spoke of the pain. That's why I asked you about the pain. He talked about it was unreal that if someone says, well, I think I'm having a heart attack, he says, you don't think you're having a heart attack? You're having a heart attack. So, yeah, it was his. And you said, I've seen the video, but tell us about the Widowmaker and how your heart's kind of different than it was kind of, I think it's different than other people's hearts because it's kind of like pumps on a different side or what? Tell how that is. What's going on with your heart at this point? It's the Widowmaker. You're headed to Ripley, and then you find out everything there.
Yeah, and this is where the CT scan became so important because you can tell maybe if someone has heart issues from a stress test. You can tell if they have it from a normal kind of X-ray kind of test, but the CT scan told me something that no one had ever told me before because no one ever knew, and that was that I'm what they call left dominant. Left dominant means that my blood flow in my heart flows to the left. Now, 8%, they say 8.4% of people are left dominant. So it's a healthy group of people. It's still rare, but it's still a healthy group of people.
Right.
Where it gets weird is not only am I left dominant, but I don't have the veins on my right side. All the stuff on my right side is so small that it's not really doing anything anyway. So it's kind of like it isn't there. So the left flow is the only flow that I have. So if the Widowmaker would have been blocked, because the Widowmaker is where everything comes in, if the Widowmaker would have been blocked 100%, I would have got no blood flow at all to my heart. Like my uncle, for instance, I have an uncle who his Widowmaker was 100% blocked, and he had to have surgery, obviously. But because he's not left dominant, it wasn't as big an issue as mine because he still had blood flow to the heart. But because I have left blood flow, because all that stuff on the right side is so small that it's not really pumping anything, then if that Widowmaker would have been just 10% blocked, or here's the kicker too, if I would have been on, here I am, 90% blocked Widowmaker, left dominant, all that kind of stuff, and they made me go through 2 stress tests. I could have died on the treadmill, because I was having severe pain on the treadmill when they were giving me the stress test.
Wow. Yeah, I've had a stress test, but it was which was one of the weirdest, and I still don't know if I've recovered. They give you some kind of liquid, and it's supposed to stress you the same in your heart, the same way it would if you was on the treadmill. And not a fan of it. Don't recommend it for anyone. It was a horrible experience. It was like that gives you a mini heart attack or something. That's the way it felt to me. But so we get to we're not going to wrestle. And how quick from the time you heard that Friday night till they wanted to put you in the operating room?
Well, they told me to come in Monday afternoon because he was going to talk to a couple of different heart surgeons about everything, and then come in Monday afternoon, and then we would have a plan of where I was going and who was doing it and that kind of thing. So I went to Jackson Monday afternoon and kind of talked to him and of the plan of this doctor in Memphis, basically said he'll do it. It's at the Baptist East Hospital. They do all the heart transplants and things like that. So I was in good hands because obviously people who do heart transplants are actually really good heart doctors. So they did an amazing job. The whole thing was we weren't sure if, because of the area of it and what I was dealing with, is if they were going to be able to put stents in, which was what they normally do with people. Or if they were going to actually have to crack me open and do open heart surgery, which I just saw my chest bone in half and crack me open and do the whole thing. But luckily, because of the skill of the staff at Baptist East, they were able to still stent my areas. So I got, and I said this in one of my videos on Facebook, I believe in the power of prayer. And I had so many people praying for me that, to me, it made the world of difference. And it's the difference between me still in the hospital as we're talking, lying in a bed, not being able to move, and me being actually up and around and feeling better right now.
You said you could tell the difference soon as you woke up.
Well, that's another thing too. I was actually awake the entire time because they put me in sedation. They put me in a sedation thing called twilight. And what twilight is, it's where I can communicate.
Okay, I got to make a joke. I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. So that's when the vampires are standing around you, right? No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty much when when I look at the doctor and he's glowing like bitch ass Robert Patterson. But yeah, twilight is basically, I'm awake and I can communicate, but I can't feel what they're doing. And kind of, I could kind of feel a little bit, nothing painful obviously, but I could feel a little bit like I could feel when they went in an angioplasty, which is where they put the balloon in and break away. Right. So I could feel when they did that, and then I could feel kind of when they were doing the stents and things like that. And just as soon as they were complete, I could breathe. It was just amazing. I was getting oxygen. I was getting blood to every part of everything again, and it was instantaneous. Like the video that I did on Facebook, that was probably maybe 15 minutes after I came out. And I was, I could tell an immediate difference.
Wow, that's just crazy. All right, man, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back for the second half talking to the golden boy, Greg Anderson.
She says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids.
All right, guys, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do me a favor. That's right. We're close to breaking that big, huge record we set last month. But what I need you, brother. I need you. Here's what I need you to do. Why not just take the 6-pack of Cool Kids Countdown? Have you listened to the Cool Kids Countdown? We've got 6 episodes with me and my host, Lance Levine. I want you to stop listening to this episode right now. That's right. What? Stop listening to it right now and start listening to 6 episodes. 6 episodes is only like 3 hours. There's some of those podcasts out there last 6 hours and 5 minutes. I mean, hell, 3 hours of your time. Come on, guys. Listen to those 6 episodes for me. That 6-pack of action with Lance Levine and me, BT, and it'll help us break that new record. Be there!
She says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids.
All right, back with Greg. We just came out of surgery, and within 14 minutes, we're talking on Facebook, which is, I did see that video, and the video, the one that you took before going in, it's just anyone that watched it and knows you has known you for a long time. You could tell the stress in your eyes. You could tell that you didn't look like you felt well. I mean, you really didn't. And I don't know if everyone could pick that up. I know some of us guys could because, like I said, we've been around you a lot. And I mean, it was like a total difference when you came out. It was like, I was waiting for you to do a drop kick on that, that first video there, but we come out of the doctor, and how long? You didn't stay that long in the hospital, did you?
No, I mean, I was. I guess the surgery was, Tuesday. I think I got out 7, 8 o'clock, something like that. Surgery was maybe 3 or 4 hours long, and I got out of the surgery about 7, 8 o'clock, and then I was on my way home Thursday. Thursday at 11 o'clock or something like that.
Wow,
they kept me
that's just crazy.
They kept me a full day, but like after the surgery, like I said, I got about 7, 8 o'clock, and then I rested a little bit, and then they got me up at 1 a.m. to start walking. So I started walking. I did a little bit of walking there, but then that whole Wednesday, that day, I did 2.5 miles. I measured the VCT in the hallway, and measured how long the hallway was, and I figured out how long it was, and I configured and stuff like that. So I actually walked 2.5 miles that day.
Wow! And the day after surgery, which that's just that part of it's unreal for me. And also, you described the being awake part. Man, if I ever have to have surgery or anything like that, they're going to have to just completely knock me out. I'm not sure I can handle any of that. I don't have the nerves for that. No, I mean, I can't. And they have to. Am I correct? They go through the groin, right?
Yeah, they went through my right groin.
So you're talking. I mean, that's what scares me the most. Is to me from the groin to the heart is a long distance there, and I just don't want to feel anything. So yeah, I've already told myself they'd have to knock me out to do something. So now we're only, like you said, only 2 days out. You're a week out now, but you come out of surgery now. How does it feel when you get home? I'm not, you got. I know your kids were excited about seeing you, and I know that was part of your will there. Your willpower is to, your two boys there could keep you to come back no matter what. But you come home and just I'm gonna just shoot on you here, guys. The Golden Boy was late today because he was taking a nap. How dare him? How dare you take a nap and been out of the hospital for less than a week? I don't get it. Come on.
Yeah.
But what happens? We get home and I know you told me we had talked about recording on Friday or Saturday. And were you at the shows Friday and Saturday night?
I was. Yeah, I was still running the back and doing all. So I didn't miss a show. That's what someone else said. I didn't miss one. So
what do you do? What do you do if you're a wrestler? You're driving and you're scheduled for 2 matches that weekend, and you can't do it because your heart's blocked. Did we go out and do an angle so that they at least saw you?
Friday night I didn't because I was still, that news hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was very, very upset. Friday night I was almost inconsolable. Because I was thinking about everything. I was thinking about, Gina and the kids and wrestling in general, just never being able to wrestle again and things like that. And so I was pretty bad off Friday. Saturday, I wasn't much better Saturday, to be honest. But Saturday I kind of pulled it together, and I did went to the ring and kind of told everybody. I don't want to call it an angle because it was as real can be in wrestling. But yeah, I told everybody what was going on, and I was upset about everything, but I was also very angry because I never wanted anyone to ever tell me that I couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that told me that I couldn't be a wrestler, that I couldn't do this, that I couldn't do that, that I would never do this, that I would never do that, all that kind of thing. And I didn't want a doctor to basically decide when I had my last match. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was kind of angry at that aspect of it. Like, I may have fucking 3 blockages, but I'm gonna wrestle again. I don't know how. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going to wrestle again. So I needed that little angry motivation for what I was saying, and I just basically told everybody that, you haven't seen the last of me,
Right. And now, are you a babyface now?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
That helps out a lot there. So we didn't have to turn you, because I don't know you didn't do the old Fritz von Erich where we faked a heart attack in the middle of the ring or something. Please don't do that, by the way. But
my health is when the house is down, my health is getting worse, and when it comes up, it's getting better. That kind of thing.
yeah. There you go. You have to get in there and do one of those Onita things where you cry and say, if it wasn't for everyone's see, I'm coming up with an angle. Everyone's prayers that you wouldn't have saved you back, a year ago, and you're crying about them to come to the matches. But so we went to the shows Friday and Saturday night. I know response on, and I still have the gold heart there. The response on social media just, to me, was nuts. It just I don't want to get emotional, but I thought it was just awesome. I thought, and I got a text from CJ, Christian Jacobs. He said, man, you got to know, I want you to know this. And it was just, just crazy, the people that reached out on social media and just over and over and over were saying, well, he's going, say a prayer, positive energy, blah, blah. And I've seen it happen too. I have a friend that is still alive today, but had a bullet go through his head. They said he'd never talk again. Boy, I was a lot of prayer at that time, which was many moons ago. But I've seen it happen. Positive energy and prayer is, and like you said, come here, let me talk to you, let me show you some proof. So we're on Friday and Saturday nights, and when is the doctor saying, hey, Greg, you can go back to wrestling when, or has he put you on an exercise? Has he told you? Because I talked to Lawler right after his heart attack, which was different than yours, but he was more like, I just taken a medicine and I'm not changing my diet, which you can tell he hasn't. Where are we going here? When is the timetable for you to come back? I actually wouldn't tell anyone and then come back in an angle, but no, let's don't do that. He says you are going to be able to wrestle again, you'll be able to start exercising, blah, blah, blah. When's this all going to happen?
Well, I can start doing normal activities, now. Like after a week, I can start doing normal activities. I have to go through what's called cardiac rehab, which is basically supervised treadmills, supervised whatever. I have to do that for a while, a couple of days a week. I have to get a stress test before it comes. There's really not an accurate timetable at this point. It's really just up to me and how they feel that I'm progressing. The good thing is, I'm young. I'm 36, and for heart issues, obviously, and 36, so I should recover from that. I didn't lose any muscle in my heart. They said my heart was actually perfect. The actual heart was perfect, so that was the blessing in it too. So I don't really have an actual timetable of when. Obviously I have to change my diet a little bit. I've already lost 5 or 10 pounds this week. You know what I mean?
I bet.
Just from everything working like it's supposed to work. When I won the national title in January of 2016, and I was 203 pounds, and I lost about 20 pounds to do that. But people don't understand how hard I had to work just to lose that 20 pounds. I was doing 1-hour cardio sessions 5-6 days a week. I was doing weights. I was doing everything. I wasn't eating as much as someone normally would. I was a madman for that, and I only lost 20 pounds. I mean? I was having to work extremely hard to see very, very little result. And now, just in the last week of just changing my diet just a little bit, not going nuts and things like that, and being on the cholesterol medicine and the medicine to make sure that my stent takes, so my body doesn't reject the stent, which is actually medicine infused within the metal stent, which is amazing to me, to help my body accept it. just from doing that, I've already lost 5 or 10 pounds already. So I'm excited about the possibility of being able to get back in the gym and do things and actually see the results that I should have been seeing.
Right. So good deal. So we are coming back to the ring. It's no retirement. You're and I just, like I said, it's awesome. If you guys want to follow Greg, as he said, you go to Facebook. You watch those 2 videos. I know you don't. Some of you guys don't know him personally, but if you can see the difference in what surgery did, you watch those 2 videos. And I'm still scared of being awake while they do surgery. I wish you wouldn't have told me. I really wish you wouldn't have told me that. Hey, man, we talked the whole time. We got about three minutes left. 30 minutes is real quick, and I'm going to bring you back on. We're going to do some stuff because you've worked a lot of I'm going to do an episode of Wrestling with the Stars with you. But you know me, and if I don't joke around about this a little bit, then I would be depressed all the time about what's happened to you. So here's the deal.
Sure.
It's not really... It's kind of morbid, but here we go. Here's the question. What 3 guys, you can take a little time on each one of them and why, that if it was have been the end last Tuesday, if you would have been dead and gone, we all at your funeral, what 3 guys would you have credited doing the most for you in the wrestling business?
Well, Matt Riviera won. Because he's the guy that he put me on the biggest stage and gave me the most opportunity and put the most money behind me. You know what I mean? That's he believed in Greg Anthony as Greg Anthony. He didn't try to change me in any way. He saw me as I was and loved me. Next would be probably Bobby Eaton. And you obviously have a hand in that. You're the one that mentioned me for tagging with Bobby, and they went that route, thank God. Because
thank
all
God
that kind
instead
of stuff.
Of the other, yeah.
Because Bobby, as soon as I started tagging with Bobby, then it was, who's Greg Anthony? Who's this guy Bobby's tagging with? And people started taking notice, and my name started showing up in places that I hadn't seen before. Third, I may have to go with Alvin Minnick. Just because, he was the first promoter. I was a kid from nothing, from nowhere, and he actually gave us a weekly spot. You know what I mean? Just because, and he stayed very loyal to me, and I've stayed very loyal to him for the last, 17 years. He gave me that first spot. You obviously, you get a hand in a lot of that because, Wrestling Riot, was the only exposure a lot of us Memphis guys had. And I was at the forefront of a lot of that. So if I could have 4, I'd be much appreciated. I mean, I did almost die from a heart attack. You can give me 4, Jesus.
That's true. Hey, we got about 2 minutes left. Here's what I want you to do. You'd already put over your Twitter site, and they can go to Twitter all the time and see what's going on. Or if they don't do Twitter, our tweeter, as the guy on Channel 13 in Memphis calls it, tweeter. I want you to tell, especially people in the area that doesn't know that we still have live. Actually, I'm in St. Louis now, but you're in the Dyersburg, Memphis area where I did my website. But some people still don't know that we have weekly wrestling there every week. Tell about the 2 shows, and we'll end it up with that.
Yeah, every NWA Mid-South, we run 2 weekly shows every Friday night in Ripley, Tennessee at 208 South Washington Street in Ripley, Tennessee, at the Power Pro Arena. And then every Saturday night, we're in Dyersburg at 1827 St. John Avenue at the Herb Welch WrestlePlex. Tickets are only $5. Bell time on Friday night is 8 o'clock. Bell time on Saturday night is 7:30. So,
all right, guys. Hey, Greg, I want to thank you for joining me here on this episode of Shooting the Shiznit. I enjoyed it. I want to thank everyone for listening. This was a really special episode for me. Me and Greg's known each other for a while, and I know I mentioned this on an episode. In the wrestling business, you sometimes get heat with people, but when the legit stuff starts happening, when the shoot stuff starts happening, and you think of all the good times you had in the past and how you don't want anything bad to happen to someone, That's the first thing that came to mind to me, and I wanted to talk to Greg right after he came out and put him on here to tell you guys about how he's doing, how it happened, and so forth and so on. Guys, thank you for listening. Be here next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Panera now delivers, so you can order good, clean food right to your office, or door, or porch, or backyard, or front yard, or apartment, or dorm, or castle, or shop, or worksite, or wherever. For lunch, dinner, and everywhere in between. Click the banner to order or visit PaneraBread.com. Participating locations only. St. Louis Bread Company, food as it should be. Panera now delivers, so you can order good, clean food right to your office, or door, or porch, or backyard, or front yard, or apartment, or dorm, or castle, or shop, or worksite, or wherever. For lunch, dinner, and everywhere in between. Click the banner to order or visit PaneraBread.com. Participating locations only. St. Louis Bread Company, food as it should be.